we're going to see a lot more video being created, a ton of really poor quality things being pushed out the door, but the ones that are really good are going to keep going and keep developing.
Video is the ultimate Swiss Army knife for product marketers. Today on the Business Video Playbook, we're talking to PMM expert Jeff Rezabek about the strategic role of video and strategies for deploying video for GTM launches, sales team enablement, AI-driven production, and content repurposing.
Jeff Rezabek, product marketer extraordinaire. Thank you for joining us today to the Business Video Playbook. It's great to see you.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate the offer and I'm happy to be here.
Could you share kind of the journey you've gone through to get to the point now where you're a very seasoned product marketer?
I actually started my career as a technical writer at a small startup, and probably about 3 months into the role, the CEO asked me to join the marketing team. Didn't really have a say in the matter. First job out of college, wasn't going to risk that. So I picked up my little desk and walked it to the other side of the office and joined the marketing team. And really since then, I've been kind of straddling the line of content marketing, inbound marketing, product marketing. Realized that product marketing is actually really what I want to do. And so I did some sleuthing, figured out that my manager at the time had a product marketing background. So I asked her to mentor me. A lot of times it's just trial and error and not being afraid to pick up new projects and either fail or succeed. A lot of practice, a lot of trying new things and going, learning from there.
I feel like all of marketing is just kind of learning as you go. Well, you've got demand gen and performance marketing, and you've got a generalist kind of marketing, but how is product marketing different?
It's more of a supportive role, but you're also digging deeper. You're being, I hate to sound cliche, but the connective tissue to the other departments as well, whether it's product, sales, CS, and then you're super close to the customer. And in fact, I think the customer is the department that you're kind of working with the most, because if you're talking to your customers a lot, you understand their persona. You're letting them create the messaging for you. You know what they need in your product and how to help guide where they're finding value in your product. So then you can go and take that and build out that messaging, help the growth team or demand team build out those ads and those landing pages that really speak to the value and the needs of that customer to help tell your story and win that audience over.
What's the handoff like? What happens after you've done this research and you've created these documents?
It really depends on the size of the org. But a lot of times building the messaging, you're not just building the messaging, you're testing the messaging, you're building out landing pages and email campaigns, you're doing sales enablement. Sometimes there's one pagers, sometimes it's web pages, sometimes it's webinars and videos, and case studies is always a big thing. And one thing that I try to stay close to as a product marketer, as a customer centric product marketer. If your team is big enough, then you can hand that messaging to the other departments, the other people in the marketing team, and give them the autonomy to go and do the work that they need. You can always, as I mentioned before, be a supportive role, be someone that they could gut check things with. Like, hey, I just built out this campaign on this topic. Do you mind running through this entire campaign? Make sure it checks out. And yeah, more times than not, I'm going to be like, absolutely, I can do that.
So a lot of product marketing is establishing foundational materials that are used to tell a compelling story. And so when we think about going to market with a new feature maybe or a brand new product, how would you say video fits into that storytelling mix?
Video is becoming and has been more and more crucial in the marketing strategy and go-to-market strategy. When it's a brand new feature that I want everyone in the company to understand, what I would do is the enablement session, just record a video, whether it's with the entire company, whether it's a one-off. I would kind of talk about what is the problem in the market today? What's the old way? What's the new way? What's the impact of not solving this problem today? What is our solution? What's our benefit? What are the main talking points? And then how does it align to any of our value pillars? So people can kind of understand what we're building, why we're building, and who we're building it for. Then if there's any competitors that have something like it, I'll record a little Loom video of me using the tool and kind of, here's how this competitor approaches X, Y, Z. Here's where I see its limits. Here's where I see our strengths. Here's where their strengths lie in it. Hopefully short and sweet, and you can store that somewhere where it becomes slightly evergreen, someplace where the sales team can actually access it and reuse it. That way people can come back to it as new salespeople, new marketers come in. Then around launch day, maybe before, maybe shortly thereafter, you want to do some type of webinar And the webinar is kind of the big meat of the asset because you can chop that up in many different ways and use it as a blog post, use small pieces of it for social, for different pages throughout the journey, or even in your email outreaches, whether it's a marketing outreach or a sales outreach. For me, I like to keep the more polished product videos for the second phase of the launch, just because traditionally they've taken longer to develop. You can really nail down your messaging than who you're marketing this feature to. Like when it's coming out, you already have an idea, but you really don't know if that idea is valid until you actually get it to market. And then testimonial videos. I mentioned the webinar earlier. If you can get a beta customer on the webinar, that's awesome. Use that. Use those the sound bites for the testimonial. There's a lot of different things that you can do with just one 30-minute call with your customer. You're going to create a written case study. You can create this short snippets that you can put on landing pages and product pages. You can create a longer video that you can throw on wherever you're hosting your videos, your long form videos.
So when it comes to sales enablement, training salespeople to go sell a new feature or a product, what are some use cases where video plays a role in this training?
So there's the information dump, where if a new feature is coming out, new products coming out, you're wanting to educate the field on what it is that the team is building, who it's for, what problems does it solve, how does that problem impact the customer's day to day, how your solution actually solves that problem, and what's the benefit of it. There is the competitive intelligence types of videos where you can record you using that tool and how your product has strengths and weaknesses against it. And then you can also do a feature dump breakdown, or 3 things that they're good at, 3 things that we're good at. And then there's the voice of customer, which are the ones that I really like to do, where I bring in the customer on the sales enablement call, and I treat it as a case study interview, where everyone on the call is free to jump off mute or ask questions in the chat and make it kind of interactive, but really trying to understand what problems that they had prior to using our solution. What was the requirement for finding a new solution, and why did they pick us, and what is the value? And what I really like about those is, a lot of times, if you've done your messaging correctly and you're actually talking to your ICP, they're using your messaging in their own words. And so that kind of signals to the field team, like, oh, this is actually accurate. Everything kind of lines up here, and then they can get their wheels turning. They have their sound bites, and you reuse that for a lot of different things as well.
I think the reverse is true too. Sometimes maybe the messaging is off and customers describe things in a way that you hadn't considered. So that adds to kind of updates to the messaging down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes even you find bugs in a solution, or a new way of doing things, or a new use case that you never even thought about.
I also love too that sometimes the customers use keywords and search terms that you could then add to your advertising campaign because maybe they're terms you hadn't considered before.
Yeah. Or you realize that your current messaging is way too jargon heavy and people aren't actually talking like that.
Right. That's usually the
Yes.
case. A customer is signed up and you're onboarding them, or maybe it's throughout the customer journey. Maybe they've been with you for a year. Are there ways that you might use these types of videos to onboard new customers or existing customers when a new feature comes to market?
Coming onto the platform for the first time, you can use interactive demos and create videos off of that and help them learn where to click, what to click, how to get their first project up and running. The CS team at different organizations I've been a part of, we're using videos and putting that into the technical documentation. So we would have technical writers actually write out the content, and then you would have a CSM creating videos where you have their little floating head on the bottom and showing them how to do X, Y, Z. So if they know it's their CSM, it's a little bit more trust there. And just trying to meet the customer where they are and give them the content that they learn best from. If it's a new feature, again, you can do a pop-up within the platform if it's a SaaS product, where it kind of shows, hey, this is new, this is what we built, here's how you can access it and the types of projects that you can build off from it.
I have found case studies to be so valuable, and usually the customer ends up feeling really good about it too. But it's hard to recruit customers. They're very busy. And so do you have any tips or tricks you've picked up along the way to engage a customer and to ask them to commit some of their time to do something that's more of a favor?
It depends on what industry you're in. So in the enterprise spaces, it's definitely hard to do. A lot of times those bigger customers do not want to have their name associated with your brand. There's a lot of legal red tape to go through, a lot of other departments to go to and sign offs that they're not willing to do the work of getting a case study published because of all the red tapes and the hoops that they have to jump through. If your customer is a small business or a medium sized business, those are usually a lot easier to get because you can talk about how associating their brand with your brand makes them a thought leader. It helps get their name in different places, which is good for SEO, which can help boost them as well. And really, like, I think you can do a really good case study in less than 30 minutes. If you keep it conversational, you give them the questions beforehand. This is what we're going to go through. We're not going to go through every question. I want to keep it as a conversation, but I want you to look at these questions to help understand what's going on. Sometimes you got to look back through your Salesforce data and nudge them with the questions like, well, no, can you tell me about how it was before when you were spending X amount of time on XYZ?
So let me ask you a question about your video production skills. How would you rate yourself as one that can take an idea and produce a video from it?
I'm not a video expert. I can come up with a thought and the idea and where I want the vision to be. But when it comes to like editing the videos and shooting the videos and all that, definitely a novice here. But now with AI, it's made it a lot easier to where I can get something off that's passable. Is it the same quality as using an expert to create it? Absolutely not. But for a small marketing team where resources are tight and you just need to be scrappy and get something done, yeah, it's passable. It can work.
When it comes to being a product marketer, a lot of times you may not have direct reports, but you are a leader and you have to influence cross-functional teams in many cases to bring something to market. So can you share a little bit about how you might go about aligning different divisions within an organization around storytelling and the use of video for that type of storytelling?
I think what it comes down to is the messaging overall. I try to build out the messaging in a way that tells the story and follows a certain framework. Usually it's a framework that the sales team is familiar with. That way they're familiar with it, and the story that the marketing team is telling builds off of that framework. So when they're talking to a customer or a prospect, the story all aligns. I like to build out the messaging and hand it off to different departments for them to use in their own way. I like to give them the authority to go on and do whatever that they need to do it. I want them to hit the key points, but tell it the way that feels natural for them because really they're the experts in selling. They've been doing it for way longer than I have. So they know what works and what doesn't. But as long as you're talking about the pain point, using the phrases that you want them to use and really tailoring their message to the customer and their customer's main pain point, and yeah, go from there.
As we look forward into the future, are you seeing any kind of patterns, trends, AI-fueled initiatives, changes that are something we might expect down the road for product marketers when it comes to storytelling and video storytelling?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more video being created. There's going to be a lot of AI slop videos. There's going to be a lot of really well done videos. There's going to be a lot of hybrid videos where you have a really good production team leveraging AI video tools, leveraging different pieces of AI to help tell that story. We're in the beginning stages where you're just going to see an influx and a ton of really poor quality things being pushed out the door. And then it's going to maybe stagnate a little bit, but the ones that are really good are going to keep going and keep developing.
All right, Jeff, here's something I like to call rapid fire. I just made that up. But let me throw out a different stage of the buyer's journey and you share with us whatever comes to mind as far as what kind of content would make sense. Top of the funnel, awareness.
Top of the funnel, I would say videos like this, video podcasts. I would say something like a case study video, testimonial video, webinar snippets. I think those would be good.
Middle funnel, consideration stage.
I would do product videos. I think case study videos kind of fit all the way through the funnel, to be completely honest. If you have any industry reports where you've done webinars on it, you would use those there as well.
End of the funnel, the decision stage.
This is really where I think you would be using a lot of the content that either your technical writers are using, you as a product marketer are building out anything in your software documentation, maybe your CSMs are building out, whoever is building out how to do XYZ in your platform. because this is where the prospects are getting down to the nitty gritty of what they're trying to solve, what pain point they're trying to solve, what they're trying to do. And this is your way of showcasing, this is how you do it. This is how you get value from the solution. So I think that would be the big one there.
Do you have any tips for the audience on how to make a video more engaging?
One, understand what story you're trying to tell and who you're trying to tell it to. I think once you know that, you can kind of create the video that will work best for that audience. Two, you want to keep it short. And one thing that I've heard is, and I heard this from another product marketer, is whenever he does webinars or videos, he actually has a co-star on, and the changes in voices, maybe higher pitch or lower pitch, depending on who it is, actually brings the audience back into the video to pay attention to what's going on. And use your pauses. If you pause during a big important thing, it makes people think about it more, and it really brings the points home.
Well, Jeff Rezabek, thank you so much for joining us today. You've shared wonderful insights and ideas and tips. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been great chatting.
Thank you so much, Tim. Appreciate it being here.
And cut.